Hello?
Hey, is Eddie there?
Eddie speaking.
Eddie, it's Drew and Mike calling on WRIF Radio.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, we've really been enjoying your book.
Well, thank you.
You've certainly haven't held anything in. The whole thing is here, which is great.
I've settled down.
It took you a while.
I've sown all my seeds.
Hey, have you and Michelle Phillips ever gotten it straight? Because you claim in the book that you slept with her. She's come out and said, no way.
She remembers it one way, and I remember it another way.
Seems like there's only one way to remember, that happening.
Well, it's not vogue today for anyone to brag about being with Eddie Fisher. It's very vogue for everyone to say they have been had affairs with Elvis Presley.
How was Michelle Phillips, by the way? Since you still say you did her.
Did her, huh? No, she was a lovely creature, and she was a beautiful young thing with a perfect figure.
Peggy Lipton, you were with her around that time too, and she would have been at the very beginning of her career. I'm thinking. What's so funny, Eddie?
Very, very young and gorgeous, and
so she was a nice ride, eh?
Yes. Well, yeah, we were very attracted to each other.
Yeah. Eddie's trying to be a little classy about this. Now, look, all these Hollywood women, though, reading from Liz Taylor to Debbie Reynolds to Michelle Phillips to Kim Novak to Connie Stevens, it's interesting that when your career starts to take a downturn, you decide that after all the expense it takes to keep yourself with these hot Hollywood women, you decide prostitutes are just plain cheaper because you don't have to buy them crap.
I beg your pardon?
Didn't you say in your book, Eddie, that you decided it was easier to go out with prostitutes after being with all these Hollywood stars because it was just cheaper?
Well, no. I experienced that a couple of times in my life, and as a matter of fact, the first time was when I was 14 years old. But
I'm just going from what you wrote in the book.
Oh, maybe I should read the book.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a little fresher in my mind.
From the feedback I've heard, I can't believe all the things I've done.
Well, you wrote it.
Yes, I did, and it's all true.
Actually, Eddie, you describe a lot of the most attractive starlets that you spent time with. For example, Anne Margaret and Connie Stevens. You describe as just loving sex.
Well,
does that ring a bell?
I think that there are a few women who love sex.
Well, I think it's more than hot, the idea of Anne Margaret being backstage like that and just dropping to her knees, catching you off guard, and boy, she's ready to go.
Oh, my God, what kind of radio show is this?
I don't know. What kind of book is this? He's reading out of the book.
Yeah.
I'm on the right show, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, that was when Edie Adams walked in.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a scene that you can't ever forget. That was a moment in history.
Too bad Edie couldn't just jump into the fray. Why is this so funny?
That wasn't happening in my life at that time.
Eddie, I can't imagine what it would be like to have the kind of popularity that you had, and then in one fell swoop, when you and Debbie Reynolds split up and you got together with Liz Taylor, you started getting 7,000 letters a week that were pretty much hate mail.
No, it wasn't quite that way. I once discovered in a closet thousands of letters that had been kept from me because they were so negative. But
did you read?
Never any such thing as 7,000 letters a week.
All right, we could go back and check, but we'll just take your word for it. Yeah, I found it interesting that you mentioned there. Well, I think you mentioned in the book. Tell me if I'm wrong. At one point, you say that Elizabeth slept with Rock Hudson. And then you mentioned that you saw Rock Hudson holding hands with Johnny Mathis.
Wow, you really covered it, right?
Well, hey, sorry for reading the book.
Elizabeth had a very, very wild life. I mean, married 8 times, and she was in her early 20s.
But, Eddie, he was gay. That's what it seems so weird to me.
That doesn't say a woman can't fall in love with a gay man or vice versa.
Did you go to his wedding when he married Jim Nabors?
No.
Up in Canada.
It was a beautiful day.
Yeah. It was a beautiful day in Canada. It was really quite something.
You tell some interesting stories about Frank Sinatra. One at which Marilyn Monroe, who you describe as a real sloppy drunk, is at a Frank Sinatra show, and he sees that she's just bombed, and he has her dragged out by his henchmen. They just take her out of the show.
It wasn't that she was just bombed. She was pounding on the stage while he was singing, and she was really out of control.
Yeah.
So they came and took her out.
The way this guy takes care of business, he gets Elizabeth Taylor pregnant, and he just sends his henchmen over to drag her to Mexico for an abortion.
Well, boy, you guys have a different language than I do.
Well, you know,
I do certain things, and you. What an interpretation I get from you.
How would you like it to be said, Eddie? Am I mischaracterizing something?
Well, yes, you are mischaracterizing.
I mean, what's mischaracter? Well, you tell the story and tell me how
you're telling it more direct, more harsh. My goodness.
Well, sending your men over to take someone.
I feel I should be in jail.
Eddie, we're talking about Frank Sinatra sending a limousine over to pick Elizabeth Taylor up to take her to Mexico for an abortion. Now, how do you want to say it?
Well,
I don't care.
Frank didn't do anything. He didn't return her calls, and it was Hank Sanacola who did all the so-called dirty work.
Did she go to Mexico for an abortion?
Well, Hank Sanacola took her, yes.
Okay. Was he Frank Sinatra's guy?
He was his manager.
So I don't know what I said wrong. I don't know. Maybe I should just start directly quoting the book.
Yeah.
Okay, Betty Davis, a washed-out, ugly drunk.
I can't believe that's...
Did you call Betty Davis a washed-out, ugly drunk?
No.
No?
No.
Because it's in the book. I'm not kidding you.
Well, maybe another guy named Fisher did that.
We must be crazy.
Oh, we must be.
Eddie, are you on some kind of medication?
No, I was on drugs for many, many years. I went to Betty Ford Center over 10 years ago, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Now, LBJ, our beloved President of the United States, took over for JFK and won himself a term as well. He asked you to procure chicks for him.
No.
No?
That was his, there are a lot of...
Mike, did you read that part?
The guy who's the head of the motion picture industry now.
Yeah?
He's the one that said, he said to me, can you get your castaways for the old man?
Mm-hmm.
The way you put it is, I was his procurer.
No, I said you were asked to procure women for him.
Oh, yes.
But whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Matter.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
Eddie Fisher, been there, done that's the name of the book. And we appreciate your time. We really enjoyed the book. I mean, I know you think we may have not characterized exactly the way you intended to, but I thought it was a good book.
No, I think your characterization is shocking. But, I mean, I was, somewhat accurate. But the way you guys put it, it reminds me of how we talked when we were young on the corner of the block.
Well, we're a little younger than you. I mean,
well, I hope so.
It's your life. I mean, believe me, your life is 10 times as shocking as my life.
You guys should write a book.
Well, for example, like when we were talking about the 7,000 letters, and now I'm quoting actually from it, says, for a time we averaged about 7,000 nasty letters a week. From furious housewives to Ku Klux Klan chapter presidents. But
that's not true. I was supposed to have I was supposed to have an editing job on the book, and finally, and I didn't have it, and I would have never let anything like that.
No idea what's going on.
It's not true. 7,000 negative letters a week.
You might want to ask him to make some changes on page 150.
Yeah, page 150, the second paragraph.
This is something that is not anybody's fault, but somebody who would put that in.
Yeah,
it was not I.
I don't know what kind of an animal did that, but whatever. Maybe you can get it changed.
I didn't know about it until now. This is the first I've heard it.
Yeah. Maybe we got a different edition of it. I don't know.
That one comment I'm very unhappy about.
Well, we enjoyed the book, Eddie, and I hope things continue to go well for you.
Thank you. The book is doing very well, and I'm very pleased, and I'm very happy where I am now in my life, and I couldn't be in a better place.
Well, Eddie, we appreciate it, and thanks again for the time.
It was my pleasure. It was a lot of fun, and I love the way you guys talk.
Thanks, Eddie.
Okay, Ed.
All right.
We'll see you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, boy.
Holy sh...
Hey, nice job paying attention to your book.
Wow.
Not sure that was
Holy
really
smokes.
much of a tribute to him, considering that he just died. And I thought, well, it's the only interview we have with Eddie Fisher. But
if he was here, he'd probably say, "I didn't die. Who said that?" Jeez.
Was there anything
goofball?
Anything in that book that he agreed with in the end?
I guess not. I mean, I remember a lot of that, but boy, hearing it back, my God, nothing. I agree with anything. It's like it was written by someone else entirely.
Well, he acted
nothing to
like
do with it.
Somebody put something in the book behind his back. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some malicious writer that was out to just, wipe him out.
It's crazy. It's really funny.
It was very funny.
And he sounds, he had some problems over the years with, as it seems everyone does in Hollywood, even back then. I think it was alcohol and maybe amphetamines or maybe, I don't know if it was uppers or downers. But doesn't he sound kind of out of it there?
Oh, yeah. No, he does.
He's not that old either. He was in his early 70s. I don't know.
Probably had a couple of eyeballs.
Well, he says he's fine. He says, it was out of control years ago. He went to Betty Ford.
Yeah.
He acts as if, by the way, like walking in the door at Betty Ford solves a problem. I went to Betty Ford. Everything's fine.
10 years ago. Changed my life.
But I don't know. I don't know if that was Eddie Fisher at his best.
Maybe it's the after effects. It just wiped out his memory.
Well,
and he just had somebody else write the book, apparently. Just, I can't remember anymore from all the drinking and the amphetamine. So why don't you just make it interesting, and I'll sign off on it.
It would be interesting to see if the book is out, if there's another edition. I bet you it is word for word the same as the book we read.
Yeah.
Okay.